Mark Crosby, and welcome to In the Know, a program that helps you to stay informed. As in programs past, this particular program often features the Norfolk County Sheriff. Well, he's back again today. That would be Patrick McDermott. Sheriff McDermott, welcome back.
Thank you for having me as always.
Great to have you, and of course, Norfolk County through QATV. This program does air throughout Norfolk County, so we thank those directors in those access centers for picking this program up.
Yeah, it's a great way to get the word out, local access TV, and it saves me the thing running around to 28 towns. So I love being in my home district here, but it's great that it gets out to the rest of Norfolk County local access TV shows.
And we should mention that Around the County, which is a segment that we usually do at the end, has you going around the county.
So there's plenty of little tidbits for whether it's Sharon or Stoughton or Weymouth. We get it all covered.
So you do get out there.
We get out there quite a bit. My staff is very good at keeping me on the move.
Very good.
And that's why we're here to do In the Know. So
that's
on the
right.
move, in the know, same kind of stuff.
Perfect. Today's topic is fall safety.
Yeah,
it's
so
fitting.
It is the fall season. I haven't put this jacket on in several months now, and every season I think has its own flavor when it comes to safety issues. And we spoke a lot over the summer on the summer safety things about boating and swimming and proper things to wear, sunscreen, all that stuff. But the fall season presents its own challenges for us, and just to make people aware of what are the things that we should be thinking about as we enter into kind of the fall season and as we prepare for winter as well.
With the fall comes Halloween.
Yes, Halloween is coming up rapidly.
There's a whole bunch of other safety tips regarding Halloween.
Halloween kind of gives us a fundamental example of like what we should be doing consistently throughout the fall season. But Halloween, is obviously something celebrated throughout the country, and certainly here in Massachusetts. We're very well known for Salem, Massachusetts, which is the highlight of things. But here in Norfolk County, we do our own fair share of fun celebratory things at Halloween. But for parents with kids, it's predominantly something that we think about. There's always a way to make a family enjoy Halloween, but in a really safe way. So we want to make sure first and foremost, that we're cognizant of the costumes that kids wear. Certainly we want to make sure they're breathable, but they're also fire resistant. There's a lot of opportunities this time of year to go to places where there's candles, and you don't want kids with their costumes to have any kind of fire accelerant on them, and some fabrics are a little bit more fire accelerant than others. So we want to make sure that kids costumes are properly fire retardant, so to speak, so that they don't get damaged that way. Certainly, the tradition has it. I mean, with the clocks going back in the fall, it gets darker earlier. So typically the Halloween moment, that trick-or-treating thing, comes around 6 o'clock at night, give or take, right after supper time. But it's starting to get dark, and so we want to make sure that we take a few minutes to talk about how both as parents or as kids, can make sure that we're safe. Making sure that it's the basic stuff, but we want to remind people, watch, for cars coming, cross the street appropriately, bring a flashlight when you're out trick-or-treating. Certainly, I think the signature thing, at least when I was growing up, if the house had the front porch light on, they were ready for your Halloween visit. If it's not on, usually means somebody's not home or potentially not participating. Please just, accept that fact, move on to the next house. We don't want any tricksters out there necessarily. Certainly, you get involved in the law that way if you do any kind of nefarious tricks to people. But certainly, stay safe crossing the street, and notice that a lot of costumes are dark. Wear reflective gear. Sometimes there's reflective tape that you can put on the costume, so that helps the cause as well. So certainly be careful. But from a motorist point of view, one of the things that happens at Halloween time is that Halloween does happen at rush hour. So anywhere from 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night, we're coming home from work. And so as a motorist, just be cognizant of the fact that kids are going to be walking around the neighborhoods, and you want to make sure that people stay vigilant in crosswalks and walkways that people might be crossing the street. So it's really important to make sure that motorists are aware that this time of the year, darker at our rush hour time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Halloween night, but any given night. We see a lot of pedestrian accidents happen this time of the year as folks are not necessarily they're trying to still live as if the sunlight is up, but it's 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. It's dark. People may not see you in a crosswalk, and so you have to be careful as a motorist to be vigilant about that stuff.
And we certainly hope that Halloween is a dry and relatively warm, or at least mild or comfortable night for the trick-or-treaters. But
Always.
if it isn't, and if there's a little rain on the ground, of course there are fallen leaves, and that can become slippery for both trick-or-treaters and motorists.
Yeah, this time of the year too, this one's personal to me in terms of safety, in terms of driving. Back in 2002, when I was elected as Register of Probate, I was celebrating the time. This is right around November, so the leaves were in full falling mode, and it was a rainy day, the day after the election, and tragically, one of my top supporters was killed in a car accident the day after I was elected. She was a dear friend of mine, a Quincy resident, and she passed away that day because she was on the Jamaica Way, and she hit a bad patch of leaves, and unfortunately hit a tree and was killed instantly. And as jubilant as I was to win the election, and she was a force to be reckoned with on my campaign, she tragically, got involved in a car accident that day. So I always caution people, and it's a marked reminder to all of us that when it is the fall, when leaves come down, and it is a rainy day, it is a vicious combination for a potential tragedy to occur. So just be cognizant of that as you're a motorist, to slow it down a little bit. Pump your brakes, make sure that you're not, sliding into any tragedy moments. So,
absolutely. Let's look at trick-or-treaters again, and this time talk about maybe the desire to go out with friends.
Yeah, this is, hey, look, kids are kids, and when they were little, obviously it was great. When my kids were little, they wanted to go out with mom and dad. That was always great. But as kids get older, they want to kind of venture out a little bit on their own. So, but at the end of the day, the old rules exist. Go with a buddy system. Don't go it alone. Certainly, we want to be trusting of our neighbors and our places that we go, but we want to make sure that we're safe. So always go with a buddy. Make sure that you give your parents, or parents should give to their kids, a designated time to be back at the house. So that's key, to have a check-in just to make sure that everything's okay. Kids should, remind your children to stick with fairly well-lit areas. Most of the streets, at least, in the bigger cities, I know Quincy, Weymouth have, a lot of street lights, but some of the more, as this might go out to some of those smaller towns, not as many street lights are out. So that's why it's always important to bring your flashlight out with your trick-or-treating, go with a buddy, and certainly focus on staying safe with each other. And then, the proverbial thing, and police and safety officials have been saying this for years, bring your candy and your treats home with you, and allow your parents certainly inspect the treats. Don't anything that's opened, certainly discard them. I mean, it's sad that we have to think this way, but there are bad doers out there, and with the increase in fentanyl that's coming into the United States and into our community, and we're not immune to it. Fentanyl is it's a lethal drug. And certainly anything can be tainted by it, including candy. So anything that's been unwrapped, or anything that, sadly, as much as we like to think, the little old lady that baked cookies, or the apples and all that stuff. Years ago, I remember it was always about razor blades being stuck in the apples or something like that.
Right.
But sadly, we got to think about lethal drugs being inserted into things. So candy's great. Make sure it's fully wrapped. Have everything expected as a parent, when your kids come home. I mean, my kids and my wife and I, we used to make a game of it. We'd have our kids. It was kind of a good educational thing. Have your kids sort the candy out, take an inventory of how many Kit Kats you got versus Snickers versus, lollipops. Take an inventory list, but everything. It made it a game out of it. So Halloween's supposed to be fun, so make it fun. But anything that's unwrapped, or anything that's been opened, certainly discard it. It's just not worth it.
And if any trick-or-treater feels uncomfortable,
any uncomfortable moments that people have, certainly, we got to remind parents, remind grandparents and guardians, to remind your kids, that don't go into a house. As much as there's plenty, like 99% of the time, it's a friendly environment. Somebody might want to say, "Come on in, I want to take pictures." It could be a friendly thing, but err on the side of caution. Don't enter somebody's house. If you're feeling uncomfortable, just walk away. If you feel real uncomfortable, or if you feel violated in any way, call the police without question. But we hope that everybody stays safe on that front. But certainly don't go into people's houses, and make sure that we remind our kids, trick-or-treating, stay on the front porch, visibly from the street, and enjoy your night.
Your kids are older. My child is older. So as far as any of the adults getting treats, any of us, or
Yes.
the two of us, that is unlikely.
Unlikely at this stage of the game. Although Halloween for me is a fun time. The kids in my neighborhood get all fired up because they do set up the graveyard, as I call it. So it's a fairly spooky environment. And
At your house?
At my house.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely like an amusement zone as people come by. So feel free, if you're in the Hospital
have to
Hill
come
neighborhood,
by.
come on by and check it out. We got some animatronics going on.
Wow.
I haven't decided which outfit I'm going to be wearing yet, but we'll see.
Just getting back a bit, just because of the season and really outside of Halloween, drivers' safety, this is also deer season.
Yeah, this is something that I know it all too well, once again, personally, because last fall, my son was driving a newer driver, and sure enough, deer jumped right out in front of the car. Two of them actually jumped out. One of them was able to avoid the car, and the second one clipped the side of my son's car as he was driving. He had no time to stop. He felt devastated by it, but thank God he didn't get hurt. But this time of the year, deers are running all over the place, especially in Norfolk County. We got a big deer population, so cars just have to be safe. If you're in a wooded area, just assume, and not even a wooded area, the deers cross major highways. So just be vigilant about that. Always make sure you maintain eye contact on the road, and just be wary of the deers popping out from any place, especially from October to December. It's clear to make sure your headlights are checked, that are on correctly, because usually you can detect a deer fairly quickly if it's within your zone. Their eyes tend to reflect back, so be careful of it.
Now we have hands-off electronic devices.
Yes.
But your mind can still be engaged. With that being said, really think twice about being distracted during this time of year. Actually, any
It's all time of the year too. Distracted driving, and we educate young kids about that. We have a whole program, and we're rolling that out. Once again, we're back in the schools now, and we want to make sure that that's something that, and it's just not for kids, it's adults. As we all know, we've seen people, certainly the texting issue is rampantly bad with people, and to just put the phone down. Hands-free is the way to go. It's the law. But we've also seen people, putting makeup on in the morning, or, juggling coffee and a phone. It really is. Distracted driving is bad. So we make sure we educate the kids about that early on, especially those that are just around licensed age in the high school. And we bring our distracted driver program out to the community, and we show what it's like to both drive impaired through the use of some goggles that we have, but also distracted driving. We have a vehicle, we make the kids actually with a phone start texting and try to follow an obstacle course. And inevitably, the kids it's a wake-up call as they see how easy it is on just a split second. You can easily run over. Thank God it's just one of our orange cones, versus, God forbid you hit a mother walking her baby in a baby carriage or something like that. So that's a lesson learned, and all the kids usually come out a little bit better prepared when they get their license.
I have put those goggles on.
Yes.
And did try texting in the controlled environment, and that's very difficult.
You don't realize it, and I think anybody that is actively driving, and it happens in an instant too, and it's happened to me, not necessarily with texting, but just any kind of distraction. All of a sudden, you consciously wake up after like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and you don't realize you've distracted yourself. You got to stay vigilant, when you're behind the wheel of a car.
With the season comes changing daylight.
Yes.
Our days are getting shorter.
Days are getting shorter, and certainly by the end of the month, and I think it might be Halloween time of the year that we actually fall back our clocks, and so therefore it will be getting darker earlier in the evening, and that's fine. It's part of the seasonal change. However, there are some real dangers that coexist with seasonal change and daylight that affect people's mental health, and there's a real disorder called seasonal affective disorders that kick in, and people can get depressed. We are a race that believes in, the human race loves the daylight. We love to get busy. I mean, you're mowing your lawn sometimes in the summertime at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. When the sun goes down earlier and it's 4 o'clock, you have less daylight during the day. There's not as much happy activity, so people can fall into depressive moods related to the season change. And we want to just highlight that and just be aware that individually you should be aware of it yourself, but others around you. And if there are problems that you or a loved one are facing, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that should be addressed immediately. Talk to a physician, certainly a primary care physician. They may refer you to a therapist. It might be a short-term thing. Sometimes it's just getting into more happy mood things that can be prescribed. Or some people actually go as far as getting light therapy, which they get put in a room that has natural light fabricated onto that, so it actually helps them with that seasonal mood disorder. But it's a real issue, and so we always focus on mental health issues at the sheriff's office, and so this is one that highlights the changing of the seasons. So we want to make sure people are aware of that to help affect their possible mood disorders that they have.
I know with the changing of the clocks, again, falling back, setting the clock an hour back, also brings to mind checking smoke alarms,
yes,
changing the batteries on smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors.
Yeah, people need to have highlight moments, as I say, and sometimes we need to be triggered into doing things. I often, when I speak at the senior centers or on various times, I use one trigger day is April 15th, which is tax day, typically. And I always say, take care of all your vices around tax day. Review your insurance, review your will and your estate plan. That's my headlight on April 15th. But twice a year, we do change the clocks. We go fall back, spring forward. And those are two moments that I think people should take an inventory on their safety within their household, and that's regarding smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Always making sure that those that aren't hardwired, batteries are working. I always change out the batteries in mine no matter what, even if your batteries are still strong. Put a fresh set in. It gets you in a better habit of doing so. People sometimes just focus on the smoke detectors. Really, it's the carbon monoxide stuff to be, fires are a problem, but the biggest tragedy is always as we go into the fall and into the winter season, when there's obstructions that block vents and gases from escaping the household. It's a silent killer. You don't smell it, you don't feel it, you don't sense it, and sadly tragedy comes in. But carbon monoxide detectors really work. Most places, Home Depot, your Lowe's, your Ace Hardware stores have combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. In fact, that's the go-to these days, I believe, in even the building inspection stuff. Just go buy one. They're like $40 and they save lives. But this is the time of the year, check the batteries, not even check the batteries, just replace them. Batteries are cheap. Even if the batteries are still good, put the batteries in your TV remote. If that thing dies, nobody's going to be in a tragic moment. However, if a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector doesn't work, tragedy will eventually go. So just replace those batteries.
And this also tends to be the beginning of the season where generators are used more often.
Exactly. I mean, we're in hurricane season right now. Hopefully, there's no wood around here, so somebody knock on wood for us that we won't have any hurricanes hit us. But just what happened down in Florida. When any kind of major storms that come through, and this is both for the fall and the winter, electricity goes out, generators certainly pour out, and that's where the carbon monoxide issue is. And never put a generator in your home, physically in your house. Make sure it's outside, especially if it's a gas. I actually have a zero emission generator, which I can have in my house, which is nice because it operates off of a solar grid, which is fantastic.
Nice.
So, but those that have the gas generators, make sure that they're stayed outside, but always have those carbon monoxide detectors inside just in case.
Holiday happenings, and we are in the month of October,
yes.
So Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. So one of the things we did in the sheriff's office down in Braintree, We wanted to make sure we have a fantastic campus down in Braintree. Down at the address is 2015 Washington Street. It's right near the Holbrook border. And we have a beautiful campus down there, and it's where we house our training facility for the most part. But we also have, several hundred acres, well, not 100 acres, but we have a lot of acreage down there. We have a pavilion, we've got a main house, we got plenty of fields. It's where our ropes course is for the kids. So we opened that up to the public just this year, and we've had several different events there with the Chambers of Commerce, with some small community groups. And we were approached by a local beer and wine shop owner in Braintree if we would be interested in hosting their annual their beer garden. And so we had it in September, every Saturday in September. We had to cancel one, and it's a huge success. First weekend we had almost 500 people show up, it was packed. So it was great. We have a local craft brewery usually comes. Serves to patrons who want to come by. It's a casual encounter. It's every Saturday. Now we're in October for the rest of this month from noontime to 5. Once again, down at the Braintree Public Safety Complex, 2015 Washington Street. And you can come, enjoy, bring your kids. We've got cornhole boards set up. We've got music and entertainment for folks. And just craft brewery. It supports local people. It supports that local beer and wine company, and it's a great day. It really turns out to be. It's a family-friendly environment. I usually bring my dog down. You can feel free to bring your pet. Enjoy the day. It's 12 to 5. Very responsible way to enjoy. If you like craft brewery, it's a responsible way to do so, and so we're enjoying that. We want to share that facility with the public, and in the future we are actively looking to use that facility for family reunions and college reunions or fundraisers for local nonprofits as well. So come on down and check us out, 2015 Washington Street in Braintree, every Saturday now until the end of the month, 12 to 5.
Some other things that have happened or are happening at the Sheriff's Office. We do have some photos as you speak about this next one, and that is the Training Academy. I believe we are at the end of the first week. So
I just spoke today to 7 new members. It's our smallest class that I've put on so far. This is my 3rd training class we've put on. So we have 7 new cadets who are training now to be corrections officers. And I addressed them this morning, and and I told them somewhat jokingly, but with reality hitting them hard. With 7 people, the good news, bad news. Good news is it's a small class. You'll be given individual attention. You'll be given a lot of instruction, more opportunity for hands-on training. Bad news, you can't get away with anything. You can't hide in the crowd. So it's a good group of people. Like I said, it's the smallest class, and we're probably going to put another class on sometime over the winter. It's a good opportunity for me to mention to people if anybody is interested in a career in corrections, both as a security, as a uniformed individual, or as a civilian. There's plenty of opportunities in the Sheriff's Office, whether it's as a caseworker or a nurse or a teacher, or in the administration. So anybody that might be interested in working for the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, we'd love to have your application in. We have a full application on our website at norfolksheriff.com, and check us out. And we'd love to have you on board and possibly be in that next class coming up in probably February.
Another photo. This is from a conference. It was held at Endicott College. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
So this is the Molly crew from the Massachusetts Association of Women in Law Enforcement, and I'm proud of. We have quite a staff, as indicated in the photo, of fantastic female leaders amongst us, both it's again uniformed and non-uniformed personnel. Our superintendent Danielle Frayne led the crew, as well as our chief of staff Sam Dallaire. And my general counsel, Courtney Madden, led a group of women there to participate in some of the issues that affect women in law enforcement. It was a great event. I heard great feedback from the crew that attended, and we've invested heavily in our staff and making sure that all of our staff gets the right training involved. But particularly, there's challenges for women in law enforcement, and I think this is a fantastic organization. And our superintendent was given a big award last year or this past year. So she's directly involved, and we've encouraged all of our female employees to join the organization, get that upper education, and bring it back to our facility.
We are going to go around the county.
Here we go.
With the last few minutes that we have left. And we're going to go to Franklin first and visit with a gentleman that turned 100.
100 years old.
A veteran.
A veteran, Mr. Robert Catalano. I visited, we had a big event down at the Council on Aging in Franklin. He turned 100 years old. He was a World War II veteran, which is partial to me. My dad was a World War II veteran, and I mentioned that to Mr. Catalano. It was a great crowd. There was 30 or 40 people there singing happy birthday. I was able to present him with a citation from the sheriff's office, as well as a challenge coin as we have it. And like many of that generation, including my dad, just the humility and the honor and the integrity that that crew has, it was great. And just being amongst all those veterans in Franklin was a great moment.
Happy birthday, Mr. Catalano.
There it is.
You were in Holbrook at the Holbrook Police Department for their Faith and Blue Touch a Truck Day.
Yeah, these are events that have gone on throughout the county, and we try to participate in as many as we can. Can't be everywhere, so we pick and choose some communities. People that where we weren't last year, we went this year, so we change it up. But Holbrook had a fantastic day. We rolled out all the stops with our mobile command center, a couple of vehicles. My comfort dog was there. The highlight of the event is watching the state police helicopter fly over Holbrook and land on the field, and the team comes out, does a demonstration. But Chief Smith and the crew down in Holbrook did a great job, and we were very honored to participate in it.
You talked about Cleo. Let's bring her on screen. There are a couple of photos. She was in Sharon for the Sharon Day festivities.
Yeah, so I'm a new dog owner. My dog is eight months old, Cleopatra. She is a 8-month-old puppy, not German Shepherd, Saint Bernard. And so knowing that it's irresponsible if you're a pet owner to leave your dog at home by him or herself all day long, I said, why not put her to work? And so Cleopatra has become a welcomed employee at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office and officially made it through her training a few weeks ago down in Middleborough. So she's a certified therapy dog, comfort dog, and she's made her debut appearance. And Sharon was a big day for her, putting her official outfit on and meet and greeting all the people of Sharon. And so she'll be coming out a lot more to different events that we have throughout the county, and she'll be worked hard.
Weymouth Heritage, Irish Heritage Day.
Yeah, huge event. Shout out to Councilor Fred Happel. Down in Weymouth. Fred works for us part-time, but always make sure that we're participating in this particular event. The Irish Heritage Parade, just a great way to celebrate all things Irish. Outside of the usual St. Patrick's Day events in March, this is a great event that Weymouth does. It's a safety day too. You know, they roll out the vendors. The parade is great. We had a float in it. I get to sing a few of my favorite Irish songs, and it's always fun.
Would you never miss an opportunity?
Never miss an opportunity
to go to the mic, and you shouldn't. And lastly, the Ride Along Day in Bellingham.
Yeah, one of our officers, Officer Toscano, who's also a K-9 officer, is from that town, and he and one of his fellow officers from Bellingham, we raffled off a trip, a ride-along for the kids to go to school. And so we had 2 kids that won those trips and had a ball. They were the heroes of the day when they pulled up and the lights were on and they got dropped off at the front of the school. So we're happy to do that. We raffle those things off to various community nonprofits, and we're happy to do that, and hopefully we'll do a lot more.
We are at the end of the program. I want to thank you for coming in, and we will see you next month with a bunch more of what is happening.
Thanksgiving's coming up, so we'll have Thanksgiving safety tips.
Very good. All right. Till then. And thank you at home for watching. You have been watching a program In the Know. If you have access centers, of course, in your community. Please support them for programming just like this.